So I want you to just picture a battlefield for a second, but like not your standard fantasy skirmish. Picture a completely chaotic, smoke-choked apocalypse.
Oh, yeah. Total nightmare scenario.
Right. The air's so thick with blood and just the roars of this massive monster horde that you can barely even breathe. And then, above all this nightmare, something totally impossible happens. 3 translucent mountains suddenly appear. And they're just hanging there, upside down in the sky.
Just casually defying gravity.
Exactly. And down on the ground, at the very back of this horde, there's a monstrous turtle. And when I say monstrous, I mean like the size of a multi-story building.
It's a walking skyscraper, basically.
Yeah. And this colossal beast opens its massive jaws and it's charging up this concentrated world-ending attack. But right as it's about to fire,
It sees the mountains.
and it completely freezes. It just tilts its massive head up, and it's looking at a single human-sized man who is just casually floating in the sky.
Which is such a crazy visual contrast.
It really is. And this terrifying, world-shaking beast, this creature of pure destruction, it actually speaks. It looks at the man and it just says, wait.
Literally just wait.
Right. And before it can even, process what is actually happening, 3 volcanoes erupt simultaneously from the sky, just raining molten judgment down on absolutely everything.
It is, without a doubt, I think, the most cinematic, reality-breaking sequence we've encountered in the source material so far.
Oh, absolutely.
It's a moment that completely redefines the scale of this entire universe.
Well, welcome to the deep dive. Today, our mission is to unpack the absolute biggest, most explosive collision in this story to date.
We are getting into the heavy stuff today.
We really are. We are looking at chapters 45 through 54, diving into the events where humanity's last defense line meets the monster horde head on.
And, if you've been following along with the lore, the stakes have just never been higher.
Never. I mean, dungeons were permanently destroyed by Noah, but the universe's brutal response was to just crash massive new red monoliths down onto all the cities.
Right. Star City barely survived.
Barely. And Vice Admiral Magnar, he tragically fell in battle. And Noah has chosen to just leave everyone behind.
Yeah, he's heading toward the massive monster horde entirely alone.
Which, that represents a massive paradigm shift.
Oh, totally. We aren't just watching a battle today. We were watching Noah transition from, a highly effective human soldier into something that resembles an independent force of nature.
So let's start with that transition, actually, because the psychology of it is super fascinating. We begin at dawn, right above Star City. And Noah has spent the entire night just floating in the cold sky. He's processing Magnar's death, looking down at the destruction, and he makes this monumental decision.
He decides he has to stop mixing with others.
Exactly. He's going to clear the Empire, face the Horde, and destroy whatever is leading it, but completely solo.
And as dawn breaks, the desolate barrens reveal the Horde gathering. We're talking moving dots stretching all the way to the horizon.
Led by 3 Ranka Titans, right?
Yeah, a massive bear with dark claws, a white Arctic fox, and literally a panda hoisting a giant tree trunk on its back.
Which is such a bizarre but terrifying image. But pay close attention to the mechanics of what Noah does next, because he doesn't fly down to the broken wall.
No, he doesn't coordinate with the human defenders at all.
Right, he doesn't formulate a squad tactic. He just stays high up in the sky and rains down the infernal purge skill. Dark red flames just fall like absolute judgment onto the gathering monsters.
And imagine you're Elizabeth in that moment, standing on that broken wall.
Oh man.
You're looking up at a guy you treated as a peer just yesterday, and suddenly he's, a literal god in the sky.
Yeah, you can really see her having this profound realization. Her heart calms down slightly, but she also makes this definitive choice.
She won't chase him.
Exactly. She realizes he is entirely beyond them now, and she chooses to stay behind to protect Magnar's city.
Meanwhile, down below, those 3 titans try jumping to reach Noah in the sky, but they can't even get close.
They just get melted.
Yeah, their bodies are melted by hellfire and frozen by ice skills mid-air before they ever even hit the ground.
Not a single human hunter even had to step off the wall.
It's incredibly efficient. Elizabeth's realization is crucial here because she recognizes the psychological pivot Noah has made.
Right.
He isn't just powerful anymore. He has become untouchable, both physically and emotionally.
But, I really have to push back on this strategy for a second.
Okay, late on it.
Because I look at Noah's decision to isolate himself, and the mechanics of it remind me of like a military deciding to deploy a solitary stealth bomber instead of ground troops.
That's a really good analogy, actually.
Right, like it's incredibly effective for maximizing casualties on the enemy side, sure, but is Noah's isolation just a necessary tactical advantage, or is he, like, fundamentally losing his humanity here? By distancing himself from the very people he's supposed to be protecting, isn't he sort of losing the why behind his fight?
Well, that's exactly the tension the narrative wants you to feel right now. But if we dig into the underlying logic, the answer is rooted in the pure utilitarian math of his existence.
The math.
Yeah, think about how infinite mana actually works in a real combat scenario. Noah realizes that his infinite energy is this massive strategic asset, but it actually gets severely bogged down by human frailties.
Wait, how so?
Because if he fights alongside a team, his power is constrained by their physical limits. He has to worry about crossfire, right?
Oh, I see.
He has to pace his attacks to match their stamina. He has to constantly monitor their morale, their health bars, their fatigue.
That makes a lot of sense.
Right. If he can cast apocalyptic spells endlessly, but he has to stop every 5 minutes because his squad is out of breath, his infinite mana is practically useless.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
So by removing himself from the time dynamic, he basically removes his only true vulnerabilities. He isn't losing his humanity, he's just optimizing his lethality to actually save humanity.
Okay, that makes a ton of sense when you break it down like a mathematical equation. But while Noah is up in the sky optimizing his damage output, the rest of the world is quite literally burning.
It really is.
And that brings us to the broader state of the globe, specifically what's happening outside the Blessed Empire. So Star City had the lowest casualties in the Empire, entirely because of Noah.
Right, and the capital is surviving, thanks largely to Steel Mikhail holding the line.
But over in the United Federation, the situation is an absolute nightmare.
Yes, the emergence of the Black Dragon.
Oh man, this is where the scale of the threat dramatically widens, right?
Absolutely. This dragon emerged from a monolith larger than any ever documented, and the terrifying part is it can speak.
Yeah, it has occupied 3 countries and officially declared itself king.
And the most insidious part is how it actually operates. It isn't just flying around breathing fire and indiscriminately killing humans.
Ooh, so much worse.
It's engaging in psychological warfare on a planetary scale. The dragon is subjugating human hunters and forcing them to fight other human resistance groups.
You literally have people killing their own countrymen just to protect their loved ones who are being held hostage by this beast.
It's a completely lose-lose scenario for everyone involved.
Exactly. The Black Dragon isn't just conquering territory. It is ruling through absolute paralyzing fear. It's creating a systemic cycle of subjugation.
And keeping that context in mind is absolutely vital for understanding Noah's actions as he begins his journey through the Barrens.
Because his journey toward the main defense line is essentially a trail of carnage, but it's highly, highly calculated. He passes through 3 cities on his way. The first city is damaged but standing, and he clears it out fast.
Right.
The second city is mostly ruins with very few survivors. But the third city, the one right before his old home of Outer Bank X, is total devastation.
People are literally hiding underground.
Yeah. And here, Noah does something highly specific. He's handing out extremely valuable S&A rank skill books and cores from his storage rings to the survivors. But he's not giving them to everyone.
No, he's very selective.
He is explicitly looking at their faces, and he only hands these life-saving items to people who have rage in their eyes.
Which directly counters what we just discussed about the United Federation.
Right.
The Black Dragon is attempting to subjugate humanity by weaponizing fear. Noah understands that if people are afraid, they will eventually submit.
Just like the hunters serving the dragon.
Exactly, but if they are angry, if they have rage, they will fight back. By selectively rewarding anger with high-tier power, Noah is actively trying to cultivate a resistance.
He's trying to breed fighters who will swing back against the system, rather than victims who will just wait for the next monolith to fall.
But even with this detached, godlike persona he's building, the reality of the apocalypse still manages to punch him in the gut.
Oh yeah, Outer Bank X.
Right. He finally arrives at his starting city. He tries to prepare himself mentally, but nothing prepares you for seeing your own history just erased.
His old apartment is just rubble. Rachel, the rank bee hunter he had personally promoted and invested in, is just nowhere to be found.
It's a very grounding moment for the story. It reminds you that underneath the infinite mana and the apocalyptic skills, he is still fundamentally a guy who just lost his home.
It's like returning to your childhood home only to find it paved over by a disaster. You can have all the superpowers in the universe, you can literally rain fire from the sky, but all the mana in existence can't undestroy a memory.
No, it can't.
He can't magically manifest a missing friend. And he channels that unexpected emptiness, that very human grief, directly into his progression.
He tells the survivors to head inland, rises back into the skies, and just accelerates.
And over the next few days, he just slaughters 5 more rank A bosses.
Which brings us to a really fascinating mechanical plateau in the lore.
Oh, the stats thing.
Yeah. Through all this grinding, Noah's attributes cap at 300 for vitality and strength. And ironically, the massive pile of Ranko cores he's collecting are entirely useless for his focus stat.
Because his focus remains totally blank.
Exactly.
Okay, wait, I'm genuinely confused here, so stop right there. I need to understand how this universe works.
Sure, let's break it down.
If his vitality and strength hit a hard ceiling at 300, why is his focus completely blank?
Yeah.
Is the system governing magic broken, or is he somehow bypassing the system entirely?
It's the latter, and it's actually a brilliant subversion of the world's mechanics. In this universe, the focus stat dictates your total mana pool.
Right.
Every hunter has a numerical value that determines exactly how many spells they can cast before they exhaust themselves.
Okay, makes sense.
But when Noah's trait awakened, it didn't just give him a high focus number, it literally erased the metric.
Oh, wow.
A blank stat doesn't mean 0, it means unquantifiable. The system governing the universe simply lacks the architecture to measure infinity.
That is insane.
So, rank A cores, which normally add incremental points to a stat, are completely useless to him because there is no container left to fill. He has broken the physics of the magic system.
Okay, that makes so much sense. He isn't just powerful, he's a literal walking glitch.
A glitch with phenomenal loot.
Right. He's picking up unbelievable loot along the way. S tier and A tier items like Spear of Destiny, Infernal Purge, Arc Lightning, Fairy's Wings, Emperor's Boots.
But because he doesn't need a team, he doesn't hoard it.
No, he gives half of everything he collects to military regiments that are marching toward the front line.
Yeah.
The soldiers cheer every time he appears in the sky.
He's essentially blessing the troops as he passes them.
Which perfectly sets the stage for the main event of these chapters, the defense line.
The visual setup here is just incredible.
Imagine a defensive wall stretching for miles in both directions across this desolate landscape. You have rows upon rows of hunters.
Mages lined up on the top of the wall, shield bearers holding the line down below.
And on the horizon, the horde finally becomes visible. Just dark dots at first, then coalescing into lions, apes, toxic toads, and everything in between.
And at the very back, taking world-shaking steps, is the mephitic turtle. 20 plus meters of spiked, poisonous dread.
The tension is just absolute. The human army is terrified, they're bracing for an impact that will likely kill most of them. And then, Noah rises into the air above the wall.
He raises his staff and doesn't even hesitate.
He casts Infernal Purge and Arc Lightning simultaneously. Flames are literally falling like hellfire while blue lightning chains viciously from beast to beast.
Hundreds of monsters are incinerated before they even get within striking distance of the human shields.
And the hunters down below see this and start cheering. You can feel their fear ease just a little bit.
But the beasts are intelligent. The mephitic turtle realizes the threat in the sky, opens its jaws, and fires a concentrated green beam of highly poisonous energy directly at Noah.
Noah uses instant transfer to dodge it. He's blinking through the sky, teleporting closer to the horde, constantly casting.
And then, out of absolutely nowhere,
No warning at all.
no audio cue, nothing, something shoots past him and violently severs his right arm.
Just bam. Gone.
Gone.
This is the terrifying introduction of the Insect Queen. A 2-meter tall humanoid mosquito with a stinger, just dripping with venom.
And it is impossibly fast. Faster than anything Noah has ever faced.
And like, if you're one of those human soldiers on the wall watching your flying god get his arm ripped off in a microsecond, your morale just totally tanks.
Oh yeah, game over.
The mosquito is dodging all of Noah's area of effect skills. Frigid Impermanence misses entirely because the creature just moves out of the blast radius before the ice can even detonate.
And Noah's bleeding out in the sky.
But this is where that unquantifiable blank focus attribute completely changes the rules of combat.
Because for any normal hunter, losing an arm midair against an opponent that is faster than you is a guaranteed death sentence.
You would go into shock, your mana would drain from trying to heal, and you'd be swarmed.
But Noah, Noah instantly activates pain resistance, ultra regeneration, and Guardian's Light.
Because he has infinite mana.
Yes, he is continuously fueling these massive healing spells without any drain at all. He is literally rebuilding his severed arm, bone by bone, muscle by muscle, while actively dodging lethal stinger strikes from the mosquito and poisonous lasers from the turtle below.
It's so intense. And the tactics he uses to actually defeat the insect queen are beautifully brutal. Noah realizes that the mosquito is too fast to hit while it's in motion. The only fraction of a second it ever stops is when it actually lands a physical strike.
So he uses his own body as a bear trap.
Exactly. He deliberately shifts his body midair so that the mosquito's stinger pierces directly into his stomach. But I really have to question this.
You don't think it's a good move?
Well, is this actually smart? Or is Noah's reliance on his ultra regeneration making him a wildly reckless fighter? He's basically using his own internal organs as bait.
It is crazy to think about.
It reminds me of like a video game speedrunner who realizes they can exploit an invincibility frame by intentionally taking damage.
Oh, that's perfect.
It lets them bypass a boss's speed mechanics entirely, but this isn't a game, it's his actual flesh. Is he going to forget how to actually evade attacks because he can just tank them?
That's a brilliant comparison with the video game exploit, because that is exactly what Noah is doing to the physics of this reality.
Right.
You have to remember how infinite mana fundamentally alters his relationship with consequence.
Okay.
For you and me, health is a precious resource, right? We fiercely guard it. But for Noah, his health bar has simply become another currency.
Oh, wow, a currency.
Yeah, he spends his own flesh and blood to buy a positional advantage. It's incredibly reckless for a human, yes. But Noah isn't fighting with human logic anymore. He is fighting with the logic of a raid boss.
And it pays off in the most visceral way. Because he let himself get impaled, the insect queen is stuck for a split second.
And that's all he needs.
Noah grabs the beast so it can't escape, impales it with 3 point-blank casts of Spear of Destiny right through its body, and then detonates frigid impermanence right between them. Boom. The insect drops dead, and as it falls, it releases a glowing golden skill book,
which Noah casually absorbs midair while still actively dodging the massive turtle's poisonous beams.
It's his very first S-rank skill, Volcanic Eruption.
Now, normally you'd want to test a weapon of mass destruction in a safe environment, right?
Yeah, like an empty field or something.
Not Noah.
No. He doesn't retreat. He doesn't read a manual. He just screams the name of the skill immediately.
And this brings us right back to that insane opening image.
Yes. 3 translucent mountains appear in the sky upside down, and all 3 of them erupt.
It is apocalyptic magma, gaseous flames, and molten rock just raining down. Everything in the air is instantly incinerated.
The sheer devastating scale of the destruction is beyond anything the human defenders on the wall have ever witnessed.
But the mephitic turtle, incredibly, actually survives it.
Somehow, its head and limbs retract just in time. When it emerges, its shell is bubbling pink, and it's severely damaged, but it's alive.
And it is deeply, deeply enraged.
Oh yeah. The turtle decides to use every single ounce of its remaining energy, its full prime essence, to condense a massive dark green ball of death to obliterate Noah once and for all.
It puts absolutely everything into this one final strike.
Which, if we look at the causality of the magic system, is the only logical assumption for any being in this universe, right?
Exactly. The fundamental rule is that energy is finite. If an opponent casts an S-rank apocalyptic ultimate, they are drained.
The turtle is betting that Noah has to be running on empty.
It's just assuming it's a math equation it can win.
Right. But as it's charging this final desperate attack, it hears the sky crack open again. It looks up and it sees 3 more mountains appearing. Noah is casting the S-rank ultimate a second time, back to back.
The audacity of it is just absurd.
It really is. It's like watching someone use a nuclear launch code, and while the mushroom cloud is still rising, they just casually hit the button a second time to see what happens.
And that realization is the thematic peak of the entire sequence. The turtle understands it has made a fatal miscalculation.
The turtle literally speaks. It just looks up at this tiny human and says, "Wait." And then it is entirely engulfed in lava and ash.
It's a moment of profound cosmic horror, but, from the perspective of the monster. The mephitic turtle operated its entire life on the established rules of the universe. The realization that Noah's mana is infinite is what completely breaks the beast's spirit in the microsecond before it dies.
No.
It realizes it isn't fighting a human hero, it's fighting a literal glitch in reality.
And the aftermath of this double eruption is just, well, it's stunning. The battlefield goes completely silent.
Dead silent.
The human army on the wall is stupefied. The surviving monsters are terrified out of their minds. And Noah just casually floats down to the cooling lava to pick up his S-rank loot like he's browsing the grocery aisle.
It perfectly encapsulates the massive narrative shift we've seen across these chapters. Noah has fully transitioned.
Yeah, he really has.
He is no longer just a powerful hunter operating within the military hierarchy. He is an independent force of nature, capable of wiping out entire armies single-handedly.
But we also have to recognize that the world is scaling up right alongside him. We're seeing beasts with incredible intelligence and tactical power.
Like the mephitic turtle.
Exactly. And of course, the tyrannical black dragon enslaving the United Federation. The board is being set for conflicts on a scale we haven't even begun to really comprehend.
And it leaves us closely examining Noah's mindset moving forward. He recognized his unquantifiable advantage, and he actively chose to distance himself from humanity to maximize his impact.
Accepting the heavy burden of isolation.
Exactly.
Which is something I want you listening right now to reflect on. When you realize you have an unfair advantage in a situation, whether it's a unique talent, a deep resource, or just a perspective no one else has, do you shrink yourself down to blend in with the team?
Good question.
Or do you fly solo, isolate yourself, and try to take the weight of the entire world on your own shoulders? Noah chose to fly solo, and it turned him into a god of the battlefield.
But it raises an even more chilling prospect when we look ahead at the threats massing on the horizon.
What do you mean?
Well, Noah's blank focus attribute allowed him to casually spam an S-rank apocalyptic attack without breaking a sweat, right?
Right, he literally dropped 2 sets of volcanoes back to back.
Exactly. So, if we follow that logic, what happens when he inevitably clashes with the black dragon?
Oh, man.
If his power continues to scale infinitely, with absolutely zero upper limits on his destruction, could Noah's limitless mana eventually become a bigger threat to the planet itself than the monsters he's trying to eradicate?
Wow. That is a terrifying thought to leave you with. You stare up at the sky, expecting a monster to end the world, and instead you see 3 translucent mountains. And all you can say is, wait.